Welcome to another S&P 500 ETF analysis. Today is July 10, 2022. In this video, we will map out some of the possible price action scenario for the S&P 500 ETF, the SPY, the Nasdaq 100 ETF, the QQQ, and the Russell 2000 ETF IWM. In addition, we will also establish some scenario for two of the FAANG Plus stocks, Apple and Tesla. Be sure to click on the thumbs up to give it a like if you find these analyses to be useful and informative and to help promote this video on YouTube. Let's start with a review of last week's scenarios, then we'll move on to the scenario for the coming week. If you wish to skip the review segment, then simply click the next week's scenario timestamp in the description below. On the SPY last week, our scenario was essentially looking for the price to come up into this high volume zone here and see what it move to if it hold inside of this high volume zone and move up to this upper range of the expected move and possibly get up to the upper edge of this high volume zone. And here we see that the price did come up to this zone here and held this zone and move up into this upper edge toward this upper edge of the expected move, the upper range. But it did not get up to this the upper edge of this high volume zone. And for the QQQ, last week's scenario was looking for the price to come up to this high volume zone here and see would it break above this high volume zone and move up to this upper high volume zone. And if it could stay inside of this zone, then we are looking for the price to come up and tag this upper range of the expected move. And as you can see from last week's price action, it did move away from this high volume zone and into this high volume zone. It exceeded this upper range of the expected move and actually came up and moved above the high volume zone edge before it come back in and chop around and close just near that upper edge of the high volume zone. And the IWM, we're looking for the IWM to see would it be able to get above this high volume zone and tag this high volume node here. And if it could move above this high volume node, then we're essentially looking for the price to come up to this expected range upper zone here. As you can see, it broke this high volume zone and came up into this expected move upper range before it pulls back and close right underneath it. And for Apple, we were looking for the move to see would it be able to come up to this high volume node. And if the price could break above this high volume node and get beyond this little bit of a high volume zone, then we're essentially looking for the price to see if it could come up to this upper range of the expected move. And here's what Apple did. Not only it came up, took out this high volume node and moved away from this zone and tagged the upper range of this expected move, it exceeded this high volume node here, this high volume zone, and tried to make its way up to this composite point of control here near the 148. Tesla, we were looking for the price to see would it be able to get into this high volume zone, and if it could stay inside this high volume zone, then we're looking for the price to come up to this point of control, this composite point of control, and if it could stay above this point of control, then we are looking for Tesla to move up toward the upper range of this expected move. And here's what Tesla did last week. It came into this high volume zone, chop around a little bit, then finally start moving up, took out the composite point of control, and came up to this lower boundary of this expected move upper range zone. Then it surged to it and moved above it and coming in to the upper edge. Now let's take a look at some of the possible scenario for the coming week. Starting with the SPY, notice that there is a potential resistance zone here that I put in. So we're going to see, will the price be able to get above this resistance zone? And if it does, then we will look for a potential gap fill here get up to the 401.45 level. On this intraday chart here, this 30-minute chart for the SPY, I have put up the expected range for the expected move. Here's the upper range, 399 and 398. That's the upper range for the expected move. And the lower range is somewhere between 379 and 376. Now, for the potential upside scenario for the coming week, we want to see if price be able to get beyond this resistance zone here. Remember the resistance zone we just looked at on the daily chart, and also get above this high volume zone here. If the price could get above this high volume zone, then we will look forward to move up, take out this point of control, this virgin point of control near the 396.97 and into this upper range of the expected move between 398 and 399. If we get to this expected range, then we could look for the gap fill at the 401.45. That's basically this gap here. And that will be the potential upside scenario price action. And for the downside, let's put back this zone here. For the downside, we're essentially looking for the price to come below this 385.87, below this dip below this high volume zone, and back into this little bit of a high volume zone here, and work toward the 381, this virgin point of control, 381.50, tag this virgin point of control and dip inside of this expected range between 379 and 376. Now, if it doesn't come back above this expected range and move past by it, then we'll be looking the composite point of control down here at 374.75, and also this possible virgin point of control at 374. And that is the potential downside price action scenario for the SPY for the coming week. Here's the daily chart of the QQQ, the Nasdaq 100 ETF. You see there is a gap here, and that will be the potential resistance zone next week. And if it could come up and fill this gap, then we'll be watching to see if price could come up to this upper range of the expected move. And on this intraday chart, the 30-minute chart here, see that I have put in the expected move upper range for the coming week, and that will be somewhere around 306 and 304.50. That is the upper range of the expected move for the QQQ. And the lower range is somewhere between 286 and 284. Now, the long price action scenario for the coming week, one possibility is come up above this high volume zone and move to this low volume area, and then chop around and push up into the next high volume zone here near the upper range of the expected move, somewhere around 304.50 area, and see would it be able to stay above this zone and start moving its way toward this upper edge here, and possibly get up to this 313.45, this virgin point of control. And that is the potential upside scenario. And for the downside scenario, we're looking for the price to move back down to this edge here near the 288.68, the lower edge of this high volume zone, and see would it be able to get a bounce back up. If it doesn't and it break through and dip below it, then we are looking for the price to move down to this lower expected move zone here, somewhere between 286 and 284, and that would come back in to this potential support area in the that we saw on the daily chart, and possibly come in and tag this 281.38, this composite volume profile point of control. And that is the potential downside scenario for the QQQ for the coming week. Here's the daily chart of the IWM, the ETF for the Russell 2000. Notice that there is a gap here that needs to be filled, and it did fill this gap a couple weeks earlier. So we are watching for the price to see would it be able to make it up at this upper range of the expected move and move beyond it to fill this gap. And on the 30-minute chart for the IWM, I have put on the expected move upper range, and that will be between 182 and 181. And the lower range is between 170 and 169. And for next week upside price scenario, we are looking for it to come up and move above this high volume zone and see if it can come up into this little bit of a balance area and tag this virgin point of control at 178.79. And if it could move above this little bit of a zone here, then look for a move up into this expected move upper range between 181 and 182 and possibly work yourself into filling this gap here. And there is also a virgin point of control near the 183.50 right near the gap fill area. And that is the potential upside price scenario. And for the downside scenario, we are looking for the price to see would it break this support level here, this support zone on the daily chart, and also break below this high volume zone and back into this high volume zone down here and work itself down toward the lower range of the expected move between 170 and 169, and also come down and tag this composite point of control at 169.17. There is a virgin point of control here at 171.82, so there could be a little bit of a chop here before it makes its way down to this expected move lower range zone. So that is the potential downside scenario. Looking at the daily chart for Apple, we see that Apple moved above this pivot high last week, and it is making an attempt toward moving up to this zone here, and that would be near the upper range of the expected move for the coming week. Now, I did put in a new potential support zone here near this pivot high. So we could see a little bit of a pullback next week into the support zone to see what it get a bounce here. But we'll take a look at the price action scenario in a little bit more detail on the intraday chart. And here looking on the 30-minute chart for Apple, we have the upper range of the expected move for the coming week, anywhere between 152.50 to 151.60. And the lower range is somewhere between 142.48 and 141. Now, for the upside scenario for the coming week, we'll be watching will Apple continue to move up and take out this composite point of control near the 148 level, and also there is this virgin point of control at 148.04. So if it could stay above this point of control, then we'd be watching Apple to come up to the next virgin point of control here at 150.46, and also bumping up against this resistance zone that we identify on the daily chart. If it could move to this resistance zone, then look for it to tag the upper range of 152.50 and 151.60, the upper range of the expected move. So that is the potential upside scenario for Apple. And for the downside, possible downside scenario is look for Apple to retrace back down to the lower edge of this high volume zone here and see would it be able to get a bounce. That it is unable to get a bounce and dip below it, this 144.83, and back below this support area. That's the support zone that we identify on the daily chart, and it is unable to hold the support, and look for this look for Apple to retrace back down into this lower range of the expected move between 142.48 and 141, and that will push Apple back into this high volume zone here and see would it be able to hold it and bounce around inside of this zone. And that would be the downside scenario for Apple for the coming week. Here's the daily chart of Tesla. We're looking for Tesla to see would it be able to come up and get beyond this zone here, this potential resistance zone, and move into the upper range of the expected move for the coming week. And here are the ranges for the coming week for Tesla. We see the upper range of the expected move somewhere between 820 and 801, and the lower range is somewhere around 704 and $700 level. Now, for the upside scenario, we will be watching if Tesla be able to move up above this 759 area and work itself up toward this virgin point of control here at 782.27, and see would it be able to get beyond this resistance zone and into this range here, the upper range of the expected move up above the 800 level between 820 and 800. And that's the potential upside scenario for Tesla. And the potential downside scenario for Tesla for the coming week is to see if the price will be coming down and test this composite point of control here at 732. And if it's unable to hold above that composite point of control and dip below it, then look for the price to move toward this lower range of the expected move somewhere between 704 and $700 level. And that is the potential downside scenario for Tesla. Those are the price scenario for the ETF, the SPY, the QQQ, the IWM, and also for the stock Apple and Tesla for the coming week. Be sure to smash that thumbs up to help me promote this video on YouTube. Thank you for watching and stay safe.